What's up? What's up? Welcome back. Big Brain MMA 145, UFC 306. Let's make some money, shall we?
Shouts out BigSteve.
Alrighty. Welcome to another show. Big card. I like this card. I don't mind it. A lot of people complaining about the card. I think it's interesting. Good main event. It's not often that you get, two guys in their prime. A guy that deserves a title shot and a guy that's a champion, that also deserves to be champion. So I'm excited. Just a little side note. I'm fasting just 24 hours now without food. Feeling it. And see how I feel. I'm amped up. I'm dialed in. If you've been following the journey, we finally broke the curse last week. Haven't been doing the early teasers for a bit, so I'll do a little recap of last week. So last week, I kept it simple. I only had Bulgarian round 1 over Merab, and I had Zhu Rong, 2 units against Padilla, and I thought, that's nice, safe slate. I was a little bit, when I went deep on Zhu Rong, I was a little bit about it. I thought I could get away with it. I didn't. You can't, when you're on a bad streak, you can't make bets that you're not sure about. Zhu Rong, same old Zhu Rong, too low volume. I actually like Padilla after tape, but I just decided to let it ride. And the only reason I had so many units is because I had 1,500 on him before I reduced my units. And then when I reduced to 500, ended up being 3. So I was like, it's too much. 2,000 down after those 2 bets. And you watch the Bulgarian fight, Marat, and you're like, what's going on here, man? This guy can run through this dude. He's got 4 minutes and just not throwing any ground and pound, holding back. And I was kind of down, but actually, no, I was quite positive, actually. And then I'm like, there's a lot of money to be made on this Cody Durden Machinel fight. I have a good read on it. Taped it a lot. I had a little $50 on Machinel sub at $9. I thought Durden could possibly get subbed. I thought Durden could knock him out under 1.5. I think he has underrated power. Obviously, Chanel's chinny. And then I was like, man, this submission is paying a lot more, right? And, we've seen Durden almost get Hadley and almost get Bruno Silva. Matt Schnell does not have a good submission defense, despite what people were talking about on their podcasts. He tapped with both hands to both, Royval and Tim Elliott, dived into easy guillotines. So I'm like, if he gets into the same submission as Cody Durden's front headlock series, he's tapping with 2 hands. Just needed to make it to round 2, and he did, even though they were brawling. I think the weight class up saved Matt Schnell's chin there. A bantamweight, he could take the overhands from Cody. Dived into a guillotine and tapped straight away. So I cashed the under 1.5 at plus money. I know the under 2.5 was a popular bet. I thought about it, but I thought the finish is going to correlate under 1.5 most of the time, especially when Cody Durden gasses. He doesn't really get late finishes. He just survives. So cashed the under 1.5, and I had 100 on Cody Durden round 2 sub at $23 to win 2,200. I posted in the Discord just last minute. I had this feeling, and got me up to $300 profit. And then I donated $100 on Kyle Nelson round 1. Could have played Natalia Silva in a parlay or lie better at $1.40. But $300. It's not much, but I was $2,000 down again. Would have been down to like $15,000 for the year, and that put me up in a little profit. And then I live bet Jordan Newman against that Russian, and I won $500, $520 there. And I hit Eskiju on Octagon for $435, just under a unit. So in the end, I made 1,300. I had some regionals. I had the Aussie guy in 1FC as well as a $2.20 underdog. So, if I didn't hit that round 2 sub, it would have been another losing weekend. Then, things would have been looking bad. And now, I profited on Contender Series. I only had Musasa. When I did the overview, I realized my money lines have been good. So I wasn't too scared to play him. A little bit lucky. I thought he probably could have lost 29-28 decision. I got the split my way. I was like, no way I'm going to lose another split. I'm just due. And I got it. And then I got saved by I liked the over in the female fight, first fight of the night. And I got saved because the price moved and it was minus money. So I was like, round 1 sub is quite live here. I actually played the other girl round 1 sub. She's meant to be the no-gi champion in grappling. So I got saved there. And then I liked the over in in the main event. I thought Sterling starts very slow, and I thought Latu was extremely durable. So I was going to play that at Pick'em, and then Pierce ruined that line, and lost that bet by 10 seconds. So suck my balls, Pierce. But yeah, so the bad variance is seems to be truly gone because I got saved on 2 losing bets and hit my only bet. So yeah, bounce back. Still got a lot to do. Still on $500 units. I'm aiming for 1,000. Hopefully by the end of the month, build our bankroll. But I'm having fun. I'm dialed in. Let's get to this card, shall we? I'm smashing regionals as well. So if you're following me on Discord, follow me on Twitter on Sherdog. I'll post my bets even if I don't have any on this podcast today. So let's get it, shall we? 000. I don't think I've seen you before, mate. Time to get all the homos in the Discord to step up. Correct. Step up, lads. Step up. Jake, how are you, sir? Thanks for listening. Let's keep this nice and quick, right? Mr. Lou Betcha has the last show after mine, so let's get into it. All right. Keep it from a betting perspective. Raul Rosas Jr. versus Aoriqileng. I take this with a mind in, am I going to play the under 1.5 or not? It's pick 'em now. Obviously, Raul Rosas Jr. gets most of his submissions under 1.5 rounds. I left thinking Aoriqileng has a really nice whizzer. He rarely gives his back up. He always scoots up to the cage, and he's fought a few grapplers as well. Jay Perrin, Munoz, Durden. Don't think he got his back once without that whizzer in. Johnny Munoz Jr. is the only guy that got his back, and he kind of really forced that whizzer out. So I have to kind of assess whether Raul Rosas Jr. can, grind on him and kind of force the whizzer to come out and then take the back from there, and then assess, is he good enough to rear naked choke him? Obviously, he rear naked choked Ricky Tercios, which surprised me. He is a black belt, but I just feel like this guy, Raul Rosas, is a guy that can possibly be the first submission loss for a lot of fighters. He's only 19 still, and he just has that dog in him. He really chases the neck. So, not after taping, Aoriqileng submission defense and back defense, I'm not rushing to it. I actually think he's a tougher stylistic matchup than someone like Tercios. Tercios was easy to take down, plays jiu-jitsu too much, not physical. Aoriqileng is a good nullifier of grappling. He's got good submission defense too. If he can extend it, he has power maybe, but we'll see. I'll go back into Raul Rosas and look what his assess the under 1.5 properly. Hello, Glimbot. Thanks for being in here. Alrighty, Edgar Chairez, Joshua Van. So interesting fight. Joshua Van, again, a decent sized favorite, despite just coming off a knockout loss as a decent sized favorite. Not even 2 months ago, actually. Wild. I faded him there. And if you know me, I'm not really a Charles Johnson type of guy. Only in his last few fights against Hadley and Van, I really had the feeling like I want to fade. I want to play him. And I thought he performed to his best ever there. Van's pressure made him really sit on his punches, and even though he had a lot of volume, Van's so efficient and has so much power and such clean boxing that he was still stealing rounds. I think it was 1-1 going into the third on one judge's scorecards though. So yeah, Edgar Chairez though, he's not a bad fighter at all. So I'm not rushing to play Van at this price. Again, it feels like a live bet for Van. He generally does nothing in round 1, as we've seen again in a Charles Johnson fight, although he was a lot more efficient there. So he could have easily stolen it with minimum strikes. Chairez is durable, has his own power, good calf kick, good jab, really dangerous on the ground. I think his takedown defense is the weakest issue, and Van can exploit it if he wants to. I wouldn't really go there, though. I wouldn't be taking fresh Chairez down, putting yourself in a guillotine danger, in a triangle danger. The only issue with Chairez is the cardio. So, he could line up perfectly with Joshua Van coming on rounds 2 and 3 and kind of separating himself. But yeah, no really interest in this. I feel like if I play Chairez, I think it's a step down for Van. If I play Van, it's not going to look like a good bet early on. So yeah, who knows how he comes back after not his first loss, but his first knockout loss. He usually relies on his chin quite a bit. So we'll see. Happy to pass on this fight, see how it plays out. In terms of totals though, I know Chairez by submission is a wild number, $11 on Bet365. Considering he loves the guillotine, he's even tried it on Tyra, had a tight one. And, Van's issue is the takedowns, the submission defense. So $11, don't mind a poke on that. Tiny poke. And the overs are a little bit The overs are a little bit juiced. Go the distance almost minus 200. I can see it though. You're basically fading that sub. I don't think either's going to knock out the other guy. So yeah, let's move on. Yazmin Jauregui versus Ketlen Souza. Yeah, I only just take the last fight of Ketlen Souza. I know her well. I faded her against uh, Silva. I played the under 1.5 at huge plus money, which was wild. She's a bit of a decision machine. Seems to have power. She's been finished in like all her losses. And Yazmin Jauregui, really good boxer, clean, just quite hittable. And she came out there against Sam Hughes and fought a very patient, disciplined fight. Never close to finishing Sam Hughes. So I'm tempted on Jauregui inside the distance. Obviously, this could be a levels fight. Playing the under, I don't know how it correlates with Ketlen Souza because she is such a decision machine. And the bomb that Gomez laid on Jauregui, just a complete different level. And it was the follow-up shots as well. So, it should be Yazmin's fight to lose. Ketlen just kind of needs a 3-round decision with slightly more volume, and I think that's tough against Jauregui, who's going to have an advantage in the boxing and the power and takedowns as well if she wants it. So, yeah, not really chuffed about a parlay piece, but I guess she could be one. All right, let's move on. Manuel Torres, Ignacio Bahamondes. Great fight, this one. This really could be on the main card. Let's see what's on the main card. All right, yeah, they got some names on the main card, but not bad. That's from a hardcore perspective. This is a sick fight. Two guys that are really good fighters. Tall. Torres is dangerous, getting his biggest step up in the division, and Ignacio also getting a step up as well. Let's have a sip of my water. Getting a little bit dry here. All right. So yeah, I taped this fight a bit ago when Torres was plus 140, and I thought this is a crazy line. He's got all the finishing upside, and as I was finishing tape, it moved by 20 cents. And I was like, no, I don't really want to play that now. 20 cents difference. And then, he kept going and he went to pick him, and then I just kind of left it on the back burner. And I said to myself, I will just play Torres round 1 KO if I have to. Bahamondes, every time you tape him, he does have all the great intangibles. Very great volume to win decisions, great output. Switches stances, technical, but he is hittable, and we've seen that plenty of times. We've seen him hurt by a jab by Bahamondes. Seen him hurt with Klein's hands as well. So, Torres round 1, it's paying $4. Just going to leave it at that. We all still have questions about him when he gets out of round 1. So there's that. If I could get plus 140, I probably would have played his money line and then just hope that he can win a decision somehow. But yeah, it's going to be tough if he really does slow down. If he goes hard, Bahamondes, he should take over. But hey, Bahamondes lost the decision to old mate, a really low volume, tiny McDessie as well. So it's possible. Torres can at least match his output if he can potentially get moments. He's got all the hardware advantage. They're both hittable, but Torres we've seen him eat bombs. We've seen him eat a clean check hook from Mota, a big overhand right from Chris Duncan, which killed Charlie Campbell on Contender Series. So yeah, I think his hardware advantage helps him here. So I'll poke a little Torres round 1, just so I'm not FOMOing if he runs through Ignacio, and then I'll just look how the fight plays out and lie bet it. Under 1.5, I'd pick him also if you think that's safer. If you give Bahamondes, his finishing equity, but he's only finished one guy under 1.5, and that was Giago's. Caught him with a perfect head kick. Other than that, he essentially carries people over. It is a death by 1,000 cuts. So yeah, let's move on. Irene Aldana versus Norma Dumont. Typical bantamweight pick'em fight, right, in the division. So I personally haven't fully finished tape, but I got into it, and after a couple of fights, I was like, okay, I'm leaning Norma here. I'm not a fan of Aldana at all. I've been hating on her for a hot minute. When she came into the UFC, I was playing all her money lines, when she was, coming up against bums. And then started fading her because it's quite obvious she was going to get exposed. Just a boxer with no adjustments, no head movement, never addressed the leg kicks, never addressed her ground game. Absolutely mauled by Holly Holm at Pickham. Beautiful, beautiful line and play there. But she can crack. She occasionally can land the check hook, which just comes out of nowhere, or an up kick heel to the liver. But yeah, she's other than that, she's just she makes no adjustments. She fought another bot in Carl Rosa who doesn't make adjustments either, and again didn't check leg kicks, and then just ended up coming back and winning rounds 2 and 3 in a brutal war against Carol Rosa, who, as I said, also doesn't have any head movement and also doesn't make adjustments. So they just went to war, and Irene Aldana had better durability and the better hardware advantage, right? So again, not a fan of her. She's 36 years old now. Like, Norma, I think, is much more better in terms of technique, well-roundedness. She can switch stances. I've always been a fan of her boxing. She can counter. She has a nice right hook, check left hook. She throws in combinations. Actually sits on her strikes, unlike Aldana, who just like sniffs her gloves and just jabs and comes up short a lot of the time, unless you force her to brawl. Norma also has power. She's dropped Hosa. She's dropped Daniel Wolf like 3 times. She's meant to be this boxing girl. It sucks. Dropped Chancellor Chandler. I have to rewatch the Jermaine Durandamine fight, but that's a good win for her. She used her grappling there. The biggest issue with Norma is the gas. She gasses, and Aldana, with that Mexican spirit, she'll come on strong. But without finishing off the last few fights, I definitely lean Norma. The age, I just think she's better, and she can make adjustments, and she's got that ground game to back it up. But I see, other sharp people on the other side, so it just screams a typical pick and fight at the moment. All right, we got the dog father in here. Just done squatting Steve's body weight times 3. What's up? That's all right, mate. I still got hair. That's all that matters. All righty, let's move on. Ronaldo Rodriguez versus Ode Osbourne. So the first time Ronaldo Rodriguez made his debut, I thought this guy was a mess. I actually bet on him or on his fight in this Contender Series years and years ago against Jerome Rivera, and I just completely forgot about him. I'm like, oh, it's this guy. I was wondering where he was because Dana White was really impressed by his performance. And I left thinking, this guy's a bit of a mess. He's quite green. So I didn't want to get involved in him versus Denise Bonda. So I ended up playing his submission at $9, which is essentially, I thought was the best way to cover the finish equity. I think the under was minus money, or ended up getting Lazy Boy at $9. And this is the same. This, again, feels like a mess. I know people on both sides. Lazy Boy became a big favorite. I thought one of my friends hit it a long time ago. I taped it. I was like, I can't do it, man. He's a punching bag. Ode Osbourne, he's got his faults, but Ode Osbourne has beat Charles Johnson, right? Yes, so short notice, and Charles Johnson did everything to lose that fight, but that's still the best win out of anyone, right? This is Lazy Boy's toughest matchup, right? None of the guys on Lux FC are any good. Jerome Rivera, who he lost to on Contender Series, is no good. Obviously, Ode Osbourne ran through him with one punch. And Denise Bonda is no good. And he's probably going to be cut from the UFC if he's not already, because he's on a 3-fight losing streak, right? So this is his toughest matchup. He's a builder. He's a Mexican punching bag, and he builds. He's patient. And while he's patient, he's getting dropped. He got dropped like 3 times by Bonda. I got taken down like 4 or 5 times. Even though I had a little poke on that submission line, and it would have been no big deal if I lost a little bit of money. I was still sweating. I'm like, man, this guy's getting dropped. Doesn't he have any striking defense whatsoever? Obviously, he's lucky that he had Bonda, who, no pacing, up at elevation, and he just gassed, which allowed Lazy Boy to build and take over. But Osbourne is gassy, although he's not going to blow his load unless you force him to, right? He's going to be patient. He's going to stay on the outside. He feints a lot. He's a lot faster. He's a lot cleaner. He's got 8 inches of reach advantage. I would say he's got more power because he's knocked out people. Lazy Boy's just gone to decisions on Lux Fighting Series. It's a big step up. I felt like forcing it. Now the money's come back on the other side, for Ode, and the person that played Ode is, don't respect his action at all. But it's just like one of those fights that my initial read felt accurate, and then I retaped it today, and I was like, I just don't feel anything different. I feel like Ode's probably going to do quite well in round one. Maybe even knock him out. Who knows? Might even knock him out. And he can get his own takedowns. And then, as the fight goes on, depending on how much energy Ode's exerted, maybe Lazy Boy can take over. But I feel like it's going to be a slim margins fight. It's just not really rushing to play it. Maybe this is a pick-em kind fight. And, I'm not going to force it. If anything, I'm surprised by the under 2.5, I expected minus 200. Minus 200, obviously, I don't think Lazy Boy is as good of a wrestler or grappler as some of these other guys that ran through Ode. But, we might finally see Ode knock someone out early because he finally has a guy with no defense. And it all just depends. It all depends on how Lazy Boy comes out. It's the UFC Noche. He came out super aggressive in his debut, but it's not at elevation, so this is in Vegas. So Ode should be able to preserve his energy and survive. Potentially like the CJ Vergara fight. Yeah, messy fight. Not interested. Under 2.5 potentially. The dog father. Norma striking more dynamic. 100%, my friend. It's 100% more dynamic, and she has more layers. She actually looks really high level while fresh on the feet. Speaking of high level, great fight, man. For the hardcores, the casuals might not know Daniel Zellhuber and Esteban Ribovics, so therefore they might think this pay-per-view is a bit crap. Man, for the hardcores, this is a sick fight. Sick fight. Very excited about it. I'm leaning on the Ribovics side here, right? The guy's been a perennial underdog, a huge underdog against my boy Loic Radzabanov. People laughing at me when I locked it in. Everyone's like, oh, he's got horrible takedown defense. Loic's going to wrestle him, but he's got good get-ups. He almost knocked out Loic in round 2. He's extremely durable, and he's got great fluid boxing, good cardio, good chin. Sure, he's hittable, and sure, he can be taken down, but he is a big underdog, right? Daniel Zellhuber, I get it. There's a lot of hype on him. He's already pulled the stunt in his debut against Trey Ogden. I think Esteban Ribovics would put Trey Ogden to sleep. He beat Lucas Almeida on Contender Series. Impressive win, I guess. Lucas Almeida might be cut soon enough as well. But he dropped round 1. He almost knocked out Lando Venata. Not impressed. Venata's been washed for a hot minute. Christoph Giagos almost knocked him out, right? Ignacio Bahamondes, who we just spoke about, also had Christian Giagos fought him recently, and he's chinny, and he had a lot less issues with Christos Giagos, right? So he almost got knocked out by Giagos, got caught behind the ear, and then obviously had to rally back and submit him in the second round. And Prado, he beat the crap out of Prado, but, he doesn't dodge any strikes. He was eating all the overhands in round 1. He relies on his Mexican chin a lot. Man, we've seen him wobble because he got hit behind the ear by Giagos. We've seen Ribovics wobble Loic Radzabanov behind the ear. Like, he only throws hooks. It's possible. It's possible, right? Ribovics could definitely knock out Zellhuber. It's there. It's there for the taking. And, I just taped it right before I went live. I wish I got the early line, the $3 and $3 plus. But who knows? I'm seeing people parlaying all the Mexicans. It's a pay-per-view. The juice should get even more steamed. So maybe I'll wait. But yeah, it's Ribovics a pass, man. Ribovics a pass. If you can assume that Zellhuber is going to give up round 1 again, and Ribovics has a really good round 2, he almost knocked out Kamela Kirk in round 2, almost knocked out Loic round 2. If he can take round 1 or 2, or even if he can steal round 3, he's going to look like a good dog. So yeah, we might have to see Zellhuber wrestle here to cover potentially. He obviously has more striking variations. He can switch stances and throw kicks, whereas Ribovics is mainly a boxer. But yeah, dog will pass for me. I see some people that play that go the distance. I get it. Two incredibly durable guys. Zellhuber's just basically had all the decisions. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to play it with how hittable Zellhuber is. I'm leading the dog and I'm giving him finishing upside, so I can't really play the go the distance at minus money. It would go up again and then watch it burn because my underdog won, Alrighty. Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopes. So I had big money on Lopes the first time around. I basically went deep into Brian Ortega's career, and I've been taping him since whenever he made his UFC debut. I've been I'm not a casual. Watched his whole career, and I watched that Korean zombie fight, which everyone keeps on raving about, right? And after that fight, I just left thinking, that's not impressive at all. How long has Korean Zombie been watched for? Like, he's not the best fighter. Sure, he can knock out Frankie Edgar, and he's extremely hittable. And ever since he came back from his, service leave, military service, I'm just not impressed. And that fight was competitive until Brian Ortega landed a spinning back fist and concussed him. And then it was kind of smooth sailing, but he didn't really do anything amazing in that fight. And then we see him, get the crap beat out of him in the Volkanovski fight, and get the crap beat out of him in the Max Holloway fight. And he's just always been a guy that kind of wins. He's losing until he wins. And, I live bet him quite a bit against Yair Rodriguez in the rematch. And, he's getting the shit kicked out of him again. And Yair Rodriguez, that guy has no ground game. I've always wanted to fade that guy. And he has no ground game whatsoever. And just taking him down and running through him means nothing. He completely capitulated after one round. So, sure, I can see the path here where people, have taken Lopes down and he plays guard as well. But, I mean, it's prime Evloev, prime Brito, and they're all in deep submissions. All right, so does Brian Ortega want to play that game? I don't know. Does he want to stay on the feet? He just looks extremely, hittable and a little bit more washed than usual. Diego Lopes, I only just watched his Dan Ige fight for the first time. I was competing in jiu-jitsu when that happened live, and I was reading my Discord, and a lot of the boys hit Dan Ige. It's fair enough. The line was huge, and I'm not really a big Dan Ige guy, and we've seen it. You're just staring out there. Just let Lopes take round one off him due to more output. Round 2 got taken down and backpacked, and sure, Lopes gassed out, and Ige won round 3. But just people were making it out to be like he got saved by the bell, like it was a 10-8, and Dan Ige was dropping him all over the place. He just slowed down and coasted and lost round 3, and copping a lot of slack for that fight. He should have, like how many times he cut weight and going up and down and change of opponent. I don't know. Anyway, roundabout way of saying I'm passing. I get it though. I get it. Brian Ortega, he's still a dog, but it's just at this line, I already had a little bit of a weird feeling about this fight originally, but I played it because the line was much better. I was just fading the washed narrative. I was playing the washed narrative, and obviously Ortega was 6, so I think that would have cashed pretty easily. But yeah, in this fight, no interest really. No interest. The bookies have caught on. They made Lopes a much bigger favorite. Just because, they took a lot of action last time. But yeah, maybe some Ortega round 3. And I'll play his live bet as well. But a lot of the boys are playing his money line pre, and I don't know, it's just not for me. I'll see how the fight plays out. Mr. Lubecha, only here for the aura bets. Correct, my friend. All my bets are aura bets, if I may say so. I will keep my 100% fade and lose record on Diego. That's it. What's the fade? What's the fade here, mate? Are you fading or losing money on him? Alrighty, co-main event. And what do we got? All right, Valentina versus Alexa Grasso. So I just taped these two girls, first 2 fights, and that's all I needed. Lubecha has bet against them in every fight, 2 massive losses. Are you going here? Are you going back to back again? At least you got saved in the original schedule against Ortega. All right, so yeah, pretty much I wasn't going to focus too much on this fight because the third time around they set it at pick'em, and I felt like both the fights kind of played out at pick'em. First time I live bet Grasso at $6 when I felt like something was completely off, and that was the day that Gane versus Jones ended up being a fix, and I have a feeling like this was a fix as well, right? Jason Herzog stood up Shevchenko up from Grasso's guard for no reason. She was throwing ground and pound, and I'm like, yeah, something's up here. Like something is up. This felt like a fix all week, and now this is happening. And then that spinning wheel kick into a rear naked choke, completely out of nowhere. you tape that, you watch that fight, and you think it looks like Valentina is levels above. And then you watch the rematch, and again, on the feet, Valentina looks levels above. She's got world-class distance management and footwork, extremely fast. And Grasso just being a Mexican, using her hardware, again, hittable, sniffing her gloves. But whenever she touches her, she rocks her. And we've never seen that from Valentina, not even against Amanda Nunes. And it just feels like she's either slowing down or she's obviously never been tested by any other girls in the division who are really bad. And then Grasso is that girl that, can crack. And even though she's got holes, every time Valentina takes her down, she just gives up minutes on end. Even though she has holes, Valentina just can't put 25 minutes together with like a clear wrestling game plan or outstrike her without getting hurt or wobbled or like giving up the back. So last time I also bet Alexa Grasso at $2.40 because I had that read. I felt like, in a rematch, Grasso is going to be better. She's younger. She kind of knows what to expect. She can maybe, if she can stuff a few takedowns, obviously she didn't. But now that it's Pick'em and now that it's actually Grasso's slight favorite, I'm like, no, thanks. I think you can potentially go over. I think the only way this doesn't go over is if Grasso submits her. And again, I think that's still live. I think a back take out of nowhere is live. Valentina just seems prone to making an error. And plus, there's this whole thing, the first time watching the fight, I thought it was 2-2 going into the fifth. And I thought Grasso stole the fifth with that back take near the end. And she threw quite a bit of ground and pound as well. So I don't agree with the I thought I was winning the fight. But when the scorecards came out and one of the judges had Valentina winning the fight and then they gave Grasso a 10-8, which there was no 10-8 at all. I'm like, yeah, this is just a bit of a fix, to be honest. Like, it seems extremely, extremely fishy that the judge maybe made a mistake and then realized, holy shit, my assignment here is to make sure Grasso wins, but I have Shevchenko winning 3-1, so I have to squeeze in a 10-8 somewhere. So the whole thing is extremely fishy. I think Valentina has a lot going for against her. I think even in the first fight there was fishy stuff. I just think Grasso might have a number, but I don't know if I can play this minus money on Grasso. Maybe go back to the decision poke. Because submission, pardon me. Because it is $5.50. Not bad. I can't remember what it was the first time. Or the second time, I should say. I didn't play it the first time. Yeah, overs are all completely bad. If you're going to play Valentina, play her by decision. I remember I played that fight. I played Valentina decision. I played Shevchenko. I played Shevchenko sub. And then I lost 2 of my freaking props because of the draw. Right? It's retarded. I would have lost less money if they just robbed me and they gave it to Shevchenko because of the decision hedge. But anyway. All right, let's move on to the main event. And sick fight, as I said, 2 guys in their prime, a deserving title contender versus a deserving champ with a lot of hype. Both, 29, 33. You don't see that a lot in pay-per-views recently. There's a lot of rubbish main events. It's a good fight. So even when they announced this fight, months in advance, I don't tape months in advance. I always said I was going to play O'Malley. I said people are just going to fall for the hype of Merab, and he's going to be the guy that's going to break Merab O'Malley with constant takedowns. And I'm like, that's cool. I'll play, big plus money on O'Malley. And then the week came, quite quick. I didn't even realize it was the week of the fights. And he went from plus money to pick him to favorite. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? Like, are people really seeing the same thing that I'm seeing? I thought the public would truly be on Merab. You watch that fight with Peter Yan and some of the other fights where O'Malley was clearly easily taken down. And people were even playing Marlon Vera against Sugar Sean O'Malley, right? So I'm like, surely the public's going to be on Merab. And I guess not. I'm seeing people, posting shots of Merab getting dropped and stuff, which, I faded him against Marlon and a few others. Like, I know full well that Merab has his issues. And I'm still close to playing O'Malley. Like, I think this is a tough matchup for Merab, but again, minus money, just like Grasso. I feel like I missed the best of the line. I feel like I might be underestimating Merab potentially. Like, if this extends and we get a little bit of a low output performance from Sean, where he's not striking as much or not getting the big moments, it could be competitive. Merab has awful control, although he will just keep shooting and shooting. But yeah, for 5 rounds, O'Malley's live to kill him. So I'm just feeling like maybe just trust my gut. The gut was saying this 3 months ago. and I've taped it, and I haven't changed my opinion. So what's really stopping me other than this line? And looking like an idiot if potentially, Merab breaks him like some of the casuals are saying. So yeah. I mean, if you watch his fight with Cody Stamen, he was getting cracked and wobbled there too. I parlayed him there. I parlayed him with Sean Strickland, and he was getting just such bad reactions to strikes from a little midget like Cody Stamen, who doesn't have much power at all. And then it was a unanimous decision, but when I got the scorecards, he lost different rounds on 3 different scorecards to 3 different judges. So it was a very competitive fight. So I'm sure O'Malley's going to improve his takedown defense. I'm sure it's going to be much better than Peter Yan. That fight was just super aggressive. He hurt Peter Yan in round 3 badly. That was his round. So even if Merab is getting like 3, 4, 5 takedowns, 7 takedowns, what's stopping O'Malley from getting up and landing a kill shot? He showed that he could fight concussed against Peter Yan. He showed that he can fight gassed and like still have an elite striking arsenal. And yeah, man, and that was almost 2 years ago. And the guy's not even 30 yet. So he showed improved takedown defense against Sterling. I was one of the noobs that wasn't on that beautiful plus money play, unfortunately. So even though some people told me. So yeah, man, I'm still leaning Sugar, but yeah, just a line. I just have to get around to that line. I know some sharps that have already played Merab, but the line is still not moving. So that's the issue. That's the issue. But the under at Pick'em, I mean, that has to correlate with O'Malley. Maybe that's a better play. But the issue is I still feel like he can win a decision. That's why I like the play so much. He can win a damage-based decision, and he can win by KO in any round. So maybe we just play the under 2.5 at $3.10. That's big money. Like these overs have to be wrong. They have to be inaccurate. Minus 2.5 rounds is $1.33. Wow. Even the under 1.5 rounds, $4.50. $4.50. This man knocked out Aljamain Sterling in under 1.5 rounds. A champion with multiple defenses. So there's definitely some value there. All right, but that's it. All right, nice and quick. What do we got? Not even 40 minutes with a little recap. In about 30 minutes, Lou Betcha is going to be going live. Make sure you tune in. I'll go in there as much as I can. I'm dialed in for these regionals. I want to make some money. Profited last week and then profited in Contender Series, but profit this week will truly signal that my curse is over. So solidify profitable September. And yeah, dialed in. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Discord. Sherdog. Even though Sherdog's full of losers now. But yeah, I still post my bets there. I'll go over it quickly. Let's go over the card. I'm going to have some bets on this card, so that's for sure. Just have to keep taping and not rushing things. So Raul Rosas, Aoriqileng. It's either the under 1.5. I'm kind of leaning the over 1.5 now, but I have to see how good Rosas is at getting rid of the whizzer. Chairez Van, probably live bet Van. Maybe Chairez sub as a wild poke. Jauregui Souza, I mean, not really feeling Souza. Maybe the under there. Torres, round 1, a pass. I'm leaning Dumont, Aldana. It's going to do more tape. Rodriguez, Osbourne, just shit show of a fight. Daniel Zellhuber, Ribovics. I'm really leaning Ribovics. I'm thinking I'm going to lock that in. We'll see where the line goes. Lopes, Ortega, not really feeling it now at the moment. Grasso, Shevchenko. It's Shevchenko. It's Grasso or pass for me. If anything, just play the overs. If you're a Shevchenko better. And O'Malley or pass for me too, but I feel like the best line's got away from me. But I still might come around to it. We'll see. Alrighty. Peace out. Like and subscribe, and stay tuned to my bets.